everyone, welcome to our channel, Rebecca, Stu, and the Crew. I'm Rebecca. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make this bunny using items from Dollar Tree. The supplies you need are one of these wood boxes. You'll also need a package of the felt hearts in white and pink, and then you're also going to need some washi tape, paint, or some construction paper. You'll need some coordinating ribbon, some flowers of your choice, and then you'll also need some yarn for a little cottontail. You're going to need some of these popsicle sticks to cover the hole on the box, and you could use a button for the nose or just a paint or washi tape. You'll also need some paint in pink, light gray, and Waverly chalk paint if that's what you choose to use, or just white paint will work. Some paint brushes, a Sharpie. You're also going to need a pair of scissors and your hot glue gun or some E6000 or Fix-All adhesive. So let's get crafty. So the first thing we're going to do is pull these boxes apart, and it has this little drawer in it, and it's got a butterfly cutout. They all have cutouts in them, so we're going to cover those with the popsicle sticks just by laying it on top, using our pencil to mark where to cut, and then using our scissors where to cut. So you're going to need 4 of the large popsicle sticks that Dollar Tree carries to cover the back of this. It only is big enough for one piece of wood to completely cover all the way to the edges, so you'll need 4 sticks in total. Once you've got all 4 cut, we're just going to put a little bit of hot glue on this, and if you put them perfectly on the lines here, it is exactly 4 popsicle sticks from top to bottom. There's no hangover, which is really nice. You don't have to trim any off the little end there. So we're going to put all 4 on the back here to cover up that hole. And the hot glue works fairly well to hold that in place. It was really tight on there, and it didn't feel like they were going to pop off at all. Once that's done and that glue has dried for a few minutes, we are going to go ahead and get our Waverly chalk paint and paint this. So you don't have to use chalk paint. You can just use white apple barrel paint or really any color paint that you wish. And we're going to paint the whole outside of both boxes. Now, taking the washi tape and a little heart-shaped button, I'm just going to cover the button with the tape, and then I'm going to use a pair of scissors to trim around the button here. And then I didn't like the button was purple. I'd run out of the pink button, so I just used a little bit of pink paint to touch up the sides there and then set that aside to dry. Now I'm taking one of the felt hearts. I folded it in half. This is the white heart, and I'm just going to draw a little bunny shaped foot at the bottom here. It's pretty easy to use. I wouldn't normally draw on the felt, but I'm doing it for sake of the video because it is kind of hard to cover it up. But if you fold that heart in half, you'll get 2 of the exact same shapes for the feet. Then we're going to draw 3 little holes here for the bunny paws. So we're going to do 3 little toes and then the little pads of the foot there. Again, I wouldn't draw on the felt. I would just cut out your shapes or use some paper as a pattern and cut those out. I wouldn't necessarily draw on your felt. So then I went ahead and took this little heart, the little edges here, the ruffle. If you cut around there, it makes a perfect little bunny toe. So all you have to do is cut that little trim off there and then just kind of round it out a little bit more into like an oval shape on the edges, and then you can use those as the toes for the foot. And you're going to need 6 in total of these little pink circles for the toes. I just used hot glue to attach those, and I drew smaller pads of the feet, basically the same shape as the feet, and glue those onto the center. So this is what I'm talking about. Make yourself a template on a piece of paper and just cut it out with your scissors. So this is going to be the ears. So I'm just using my paper. I drew the shape of an ear, and then I lay that on top of the felt to cut out the ears. Now you can do both ears at the same time, but it's a little easier to do one at a time when you're using that little template there. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your little pattern that you had, fold it in half, and then cut the center out, and that's going to be the middle of the ears. So you need it a little bit smaller so the white still shows. And then you're going to cut out 2 pink centers for the ears. Then we're just going to hot glue those on right to the middle. And then this other ear over here on the side, I want it to have a little floppy ear. So once that center is glued on there, I just put a little dot of glue over in the corner, as you can see here, and then I fold that ear over to the side that I want it to flop to and hold it down for a few seconds until it dries so that it will stay flopped over like that. Now to get the ears to stand up to look more like a 3D bunny ear, you're going to cut a line up the center, not too far about halfway, put a little dot of hot glue there, and then fold that corner over like you see I'm doing here, and then hold that glue until it dries. And now you've got a little 3D ear that stands up pretty much on its own, which is really cute. And you're going to do this for both of the ears. So now we have the feet, the ears, and the nose all finished. We're going to make a tail. So we're going to take this gray yarn, and I'm going to wrap it around my hands probably about 35 times. I can't remember exactly how many times I did that. And I already cut a piece of string off so it's ready, so I can use that as the tie for the center. So once you've wrapped this around your fingers about 35-40 times, you're just going to cut off that excess. And then we're going to take this little tie that we had already pre-cut, and we're going to tie that right in the center of this loop that we've made. You're going to want to double knot this so that it stays pretty tight, and you want to get it as tight as you can get it, but don't pull too hard because you don't want to break the yarn. Once we've got that all tied off, we're actually going to cut these loops, and this is what's going to make our little pom-pom or bunny tail. So as you can see, I'm just going to go ahead and put my double knot in there. And like I said, be careful. You don't want to pull too hard. The yarn does break sometimes fairly easy depending on which kinds you get. And this is just the Dollar Tree brand. So now you're going to go ahead and cut those loops. Now they don't all come out exactly the same length. So once you cut both sides with all the loops, we're going to trim this like we're giving it a little bit of a haircut just to even it out some and to make sure that it looks pretty, uniform all the way around. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it as close as you can. So now I'm just trimming up those little edges to even it out a little bit. And take your time, don't go too fast. And now I've got that all done, and we're just going to glue that on the back in just a second. But I decided to go ahead and use a dry brush to brush a little bit of the gray apple barrel paint on the boxes to give it a little bit more of like a 3D effect to look like hair. And then I'm going to glue these boxes together. So I just put some hot glue on there, and I stack the boxes with the smaller box on top, making sure it's centered before I push it down all of the way. Then I decide where I want my feet to be, and I put a little bit of hot glue on both sides of the box and glue my feet on, holding them down in place just for a second while they dry just a little bit to make sure they don't move. You want to make sure you glue those high enough that you can sit your boxes up. Then I lost my footage of the washi tape tummy. It's just an oval that I had cut out and glued that on the front, and then glued the little pom-pom tail on the back. Now we're going to go ahead and glue the ears on just using some hot glue. You do need to hold these ears on in place while their glue is drying. If you let go, they will flop over because they're kind of heavy. But once they dry, they stay on just fine. We're going to make a little bow now for the top of the ears, the head there. I just cut 6 pieces of ribbon about 2 inches long for each piece. And then I gave it a little dovetail there on the ends. And then I just make an X layering them and then tie the center here. And just make a very simple bow using a couple different kinds of ribbon here. So then I double knot that, and I'm going to cut those little excess ties off because it's a little bit too long, but I wanted it long enough that I'd be able to tie it easily. And then just using a little dot of hot glue, I'm going to glue that right to the center of the ears in the front, and that hides the glue marks that we had for the ears when we attached those. Then I had some little pink petals from some flowers that I had pulled off, and I put those in the center with some little pearl beads in the middle of those flowers. Now I glued the nose on upside down. It was the heart, and I glued that on upside down to make a nose. And then I used a pencil to draw the face on, and then I'm using the Sharpie marker to go back over the face now that all the paint has dried, because I don't want to try to freehand paint or even try to trace paint with like a small paintbrush, because this face is a little bit small and there's a lot of detail to it. And so a Sharpie is really your best bet unless you have a paint marker. Before I do the whiskers though, I want to do some little rosy cheeks, and then I'm going to go ahead and let that dry before I finish the Sharpie marker whiskers here for the face. Now that that's dry, put the little whiskers on, and here's the face up close. I did put a little dot of white at the top, and underneath the bottom of the eye. And that is him all finished. I love how he turned out. He's really cute. He's a cute addition to our Easter decorations this year. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this video. And here are some other videos from our channel you might also enjoy. Have a great day.